Okay, everyone, thank you so much for your patience. Nitzias is connecting now, and we will get started. But as she's coming on, my name is Leah Patterson. I am the coordinator here at the Rocket Lab, and I welcome you all to this program of Beyond the Idea, where we get to speak with inspirational business owners and talk to them about their journey and what tips and techniques and challenges and triumphs they've had in their journey, and we get to learn from them. And so this is a wonderful opportunity for you all to ask questions. I always encourage people to ask questions of these entrepreneurs. This is our time to really be able to check in with them and get some some insider information about how to excel in your business and how to persevere as well. If you're not familiar with the Rocket Lab, we are an entrepreneurial resource center here with CALS. So we're a partnership between CALS and Advancing Black Entrepreneurship. And our whole purpose and mission is to provide access to resources, to training, to mentorship, to capital for under-resourced entrepreneurs. So we provide those gaps. We fill those gaps in the ecosystem so that we are hopefully, our intent is to change the ecosystem here in our local area for our community. So Miss Nittzia is here, and she is welcome, Miss Nittzia of Nitzia's Designs. I think she's muted, so we'll go ahead and. Okay, great. Yes, so welcome and thank you for doing this. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for asking me.
Yes, definitely. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in. This is a session. It's very informal. It's just us talking about your business and how you've grown and what challenges you've overcome and what tips you can give up and coming business owners and even people that are seasoned, because that's the beauty of having community, is that you're able to kind of learn from each other and bounce ideas off of each other. So firstly, could you tell us what your business is and what you do?
Yes. First of all, thank you again for having me. It's always a pleasure to be able to share my journey with everyone else. Not that I'm all the way there yet. I'm still in the process of growing and learning and becoming better and better, every time. But it's always a pleasure to be able to share with everyone just what has been helpful and what has been not helpful. So what I do, I am a florist and I just work with flowers, and I'm pretty much, so what I do is pretty much events. I work with weddings and I do all kinds of events and just for flowers for friends and family. So that's pretty much, I'm a small business as a florist.
Okay, very cool. And I know I was looking at your website in preparation for this, and so we have something in common with that love for crafting. And so you kind of talked a little bit about in your bio how I think is your mother who crafted and kind of introduced you to that early on, and then through your husband's encouragement, you kind of got back into it. So what was that crafting journey like for you?
Yes. Okay. So I'm the kind of person that my brain never shuts down. I'm always thinking, what can I make? What can I do? How can I change my living room and make it different and better, with what I have? Repurposing, that's always my thing. How can I repurpose what I have and just make it look good? So my mom was like that. She taught me a lot of this. We were on a very small, tight budget growing up. So we always have to be creative, to make our home look nice and cozy and inviting. So I picked up that from her, so she was a seamstress and a secretary during the day, working at a school. So whenever she came home, she would sew, and my job was to sew the buttons and help her hem. So I did some of the basic things, and at the time I didn't like it. It was a chore for me to do that. But as I got older, I got married and I had my own family. All those things that I learned from my mom became very handy. I just wanted to do the same for my home and my family. And of course, my husband has always been there to support me and encourage me and let me see those areas where I can do better. Like sometimes we can be really hard with ourselves
Yeah.
sometimes, not seeing our own potential, right? Until
Yes.
somebody else comes and they can see that and they can tell you, you know what, you can do so much more. And my husband was that person. He allowed me to see all what I was capable of doing. I said, just go back, to your roots and see what is it that you want to bring, especially being in a different country. I grew up in Mexico, so it
Okay.
was hard for me at first. But anyway, so yes, my husband signed me up for a quilting class, and that's where everything started. So I've been from quilting to painting, arranging
Oh, wow.
flowers, to sewing, monogramming. I even, got into monogramming. That was a trend, it's still popular, but
Yeah.
when I had little kids, I just wanted to try, explore different things just to see what is it that I felt more comfortable with. And I stuck with the flowers. So that's what always kept coming back. I realized, listen, something I noticed is that flowers will never go out of style. And pretty much everyone I know, unless you're allergic or something, but pretty much everyone loves flowers. So
That is so true. Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you, kind of, how did you happen upon flowers? Like, how did you settle to say, okay, the flowers is the thing that I'm going to really kind of grow into business? Was it just kind of organic where it just flowed, or did you kind of make a decision?
yes, well, it was by the experience I had with the other things I was trying. So that is something I would always encourage everybody to do. Just experience the field. What is it that you enjoy doing? Of course, if you're going to have to invest, a lot of money and time, then I would be very cautious with that. But if it's something you can do within your home and you try to present it to your friends and family and see what is more successful or what is the interest on people, whatever you're doing. So like I said, I was sewing, I was monogramming, I was even doing vinyl, signs, like those pretty signs that are very popular today. So I did a little bit of everything and I enjoyed it all, but I realized that of course, everybody wants a good deal on things like that, right? So I wasn't really making profit, on a lot of those things I was doing just pretty much just for fun. And I thought, okay, I'm kind of getting tired of doing it that way. I want this to grow. So I just decided to stick with the part of like the flowers. I noticed that a lot of people were asking me all the time. That was something that never went away. And I just thought, you know what? Flowers, like I said earlier, is just something that has been there for centuries and people love it. And it makes one of my goals with my work. I want to make a difference. I want to make a statement, and I want to make people feel good with my work, with what I'm doing, what I'm creating. So I realized that flowers was it, so I thought, okay, flowers make people smile, and even when they are at their lowest, it will always cheer them up. They'll always feel good, just getting a bouquet of flowers from a loved one or a friend. I love being part of that.
Oh, wow. See, that's beautiful. And there's like so many business gems in what you said, because I think one thing that we often talk about here at the Rocket Lab in our programs is how, as a business owner, kind of a new business owner, oftentimes people want to do what they like. It's like they kind of start with like their passion or something they were excited about. And it's difficult to really kind of shift that to, well, what is my customer or my client, really like, and it's really about trying to find that, that fine line, that balance between, I love to do this, and there's actually a market for this too.
Exactly.
So that's really great that, it's kind of, you were able to, and I think it probably does happen this way with a lot of business owners, probably. I know with myself through my journey as well, that you get to a point where you start to evaluate, like, okay, do I want this to be a hobby that I'm just enjoying and it's fun to do, and maybe I make a little bit of my supplies back, the money I spend on my supplies, or do I really want to grow this into a business? So, yeah, very cool. So, so in terms of like how you evolved what you've offered over time. So it kind of, kind of still in this vein of like, figuring out what really works. How do you sell your flowers now? Like, has that changed? I mean, in your arrangements, is what you do changed?
It has. So something that COVID really messed up my plans in many ways. Like on everyone's plans. I think everybody can agree with me. That this has been a very big challenge. For a lot of us, just not knowing what to do next. After COVID has been a huge question mark for me, because before COVID, I had a plan. I had something that I wanted to do, and I just really thought it would take me a year or two to be able to get there. That was my goal. Of course, it could have been longer, but when COVID happened, I just realized that my plan wasn't really going to work the way I wanted to, because I was a little bit afraid of not knowing what the economy would be looking like, after that. I didn't want to go and invest on something that wasn't going to make it, or survive, So what I decided to do for a little longer is just to stay home. I have my studio at home. And that's why I have been doing more events than anything else. So I started selling my flowers at bake shops. For example, there's a coffee house or a bakery, in Bryan and one in Benton, that they sold my flowers. And I do it during the holidays. I do it at a bakery in Sherwood. So it was working well, but then I realized that the events was really going to help me get to where I wanted to be. So that's where I'm concentrating more on right now, just the events. So I'm still doing, requests, for those faithful clients, that have followed me from the very beginning. And they ask me, because I tried the delivery part, like to do the full service flower shop myself. And I realized that wasn't really going to work for me right now. So not that I don't want to do it later. I still want to go back to that, but I'm not there yet for that. So right now, I'm just taking care of orders here and there for friends that just clients that became friends that really want me to continue to do some of their special requests for family and friends, and I do that. But yes, right now I'm booked for the rest of the year, and I'm already seeing brides all. I have pretty much full up to June of next year. So that to me is good. I like that. That's what I want it to be. And I'm happy with that result right now. And I want to stick with that for a little while, maybe at least another year, and then try to evaluate and see where I want to go from there.
Very, very cool. Yeah, and congratulations on that,
Thank you.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming sometimes, but it's good. I'm thankful, very thankful.
Yeah, I can imagine on both sides. And so advice-wise, because it sounds like you said, like with COVID, there was like a pivot there, like an intentional pivot to say, okay, I want to shift my focus to here. So advice for, other business owners and trying to evaluate and do that type of thing. Do you have any advice there you can give?
Yes, for sure. Don't give up. I mean, that's the one thing, because I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. And honestly, for me, my business flourished as far as people wanting to encourage friends and family that I couldn't get out of the house. And what I would do, they would call me and I would bring a bouquet of flowers and leave it in the front door. I didn't have to have that interaction with anyone. I just brought the flowers and that cheer them up, So that's where a lot of people starting telling people about me, like, look, she's doing this, you need to call her and she'll bring flowers to your mom or to your grandmother or to your best friend that is so sad and depressed right now. So for me, it flourished in another area. So
Yeah.
so I just kept going. I kept going. I never lost, really anything. I gained a lot. So don't give up. Just keep trying to do what you need to do. I think that maybe, yeah, shift the focus of your goal a little bit, but keep working at what you're doing the best way you can. And I actually use that time to grow as far as learning new techniques and new ways of doing things, and just trying to consider, so, well, hey, what can I be doing now, that is different. So maybe this is a time to reinvent yourself. Try to
Yeah.
just try to see how you can still do what you love to do, but in a different way. So that's pretty much what happened to me. I had to reinvent myself during that time, and a lot of good things happen, and they're still happening. So I have not given up of that dream I had from the beginning. I'm just pausing right now on that dream, but I still want to make it happen, maybe in a year from now, or 2 years, I don't know, if we're willing. Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And that's wonderful advice. Yeah, definitely. That's something that we say here too, is like, keep your why in mind, and
Yes.
don't give up, and allow yourself to pivot, allow yourself to expand your vision to see, okay, well, what else is possible within the framework of what I want to do.
Sure. Yes.
So, yeah. And so I wanted to ask, it sounds like your business has really grown through word of mouth. Have you also done like any type of marketing, or have you really just relied on word of mouth?
Very little, actually. With what I do, it pretty much that's my card, my business
Yeah.
card. My flowers are, like people. So social media has been my best friend. So
Okay.
that's the one thing that I've been going to, because yes, when I started my business, I didn't want to invest a lot of money. I didn't want to spend all this money on magazines that I could put my name on it. I just started doing social media, and people share that, like there's that option where you can share, especially on Facebook. But I have had a lot of people just sharing, my work. And honestly, a lot of people, sometimes, I do it just for encouragement, just post a bouquet of flowers on Mondays.
Mhm.
And then sometimes I can't do it on Mondays, and people ask me, say, "Well, I've been looking forward to your arrangement that you post on
Oh,
social media."
wow.
So little
Yeah.
things like that I'm thinking, oh wow, that does brighten people's day just looking at the picture. So marketing for me has really been mostly word of mouth, and of course social media has been my best friend, honestly. That's And of course
Okay.
you have to stay active on that. Sometimes I don't have time to do it, but I make
Mhm.
myself do it, because it is what is going to pay off. What you are selling on social media, it's what people are. I mean, you have to, we are visual, everybody's visual, and whatever they see, it will make them want, to inquire more, or say, hey, I really want that. So I was just approached, by this jewelry company, that they want me to do a collaboration with them, for their products. And so I'm doing my research on that. I need to know what kind of company they are. This is good for me, but it was all through my content. They saw all my content, and it made them interested in what I do, and they were like, yeah, let's see if we can work together. So I need to consider that and say, okay, well,
Yeah.
how are you taking your pictures? What is it
Mhm.
that you're showing? I've learned a lot of that too. What getting a good image out there with good lighting and everything, it's everything,
Yeah.
especially for flowers. So yeah.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you that. So I was going to actually ask you two questions. One, which platform really has been working for you? And then the other question was, have you found that yeah, like not staging your picture, but you know, putting effort into it being a good picture? makes a difference, even with flowers. Yeah.
Big time. Make it attractive. You have to make it attractive. It's all about styling. We call it, you know, in our world, is we have to style, you know, the flower. We have to style, you know, the whatever product it is. You're in the food business. Make it look good. You know, if it's hair, you know, make sure you have good lighting. You know, so I've learned from other florists. I follow several florists from all over the world, and I learned from them. You know, I noticed, you know, how they're doing it, how they're taking their pictures. So I get the idea, and I work on it myself to make it my own, of course, you know. But I've heard tips from I've made a really good group of friends from photographers, you know,
Very cool.
from weddings that I've done, and we
Yeah.
have connected, and we are following each other. So I get tips from them, you know, like I ask them little questions about lighting, you know. I've learned so much, you know, from that. So yeah, the way you advertise your product on social media is everything. So that's what is going to make people want to stop and look, or they will keep scrolling. You know, what do you want to
Yeah.
do? Do you want to be the one putting the image that they will really want to stop and look at it, and then click on the person that made that? You know, they will click on Nitzia's designs, and they will want to know more about who made that flower bouquet, you know, or they will, or I'm gonna put something just quickly rushed and not, you know, not looking good. They will just keep scrolling. They will never stop and look at me. So your goal is to make people stop and click on it.
And click. Yeah. So that extra effort is really important.
It pays off for
Yeah.
sure. It has for me. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And something else you mentioned, which is great. It's something that that we have to work with entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs with, is their competitors. You know, you mentioned that you look at other flower designers and learn from them. And a lot of what a lot of times when people are kind of first starting out with business, they're afraid of competitors, or they feel like, it's actually a good thing not to have any competitors. But it really, you can learn so much from people in your field, you know, and not have to reinvent the wheel. And like you said, add your own to it, make it your own, but it allows you to see kind of what is already working, you know?
Yes, yes. Well, let me say a little something about that. I thought growing up that all these people that did flowers, that's why it took me so long to really put my full effort into that, because I thought that it was passed on through generations. Like if your grandmother did it, then the daughter did it, and then you know, that it was passed on in generations, you know, being a florist. That's the idea I had, you know, of people that did flowers. So I really never felt like I could learn myself to do that. I would just play with it at home, but it was just not something I felt comfortable like telling people, hey, can I do your flowers? You know, would you let me do that? You know, so something that I realized is that you can learn. If you have it, you can learn it. You know, that's something that nowadays, thankfully, technology can be very helpful, because I taught myself pretty much, you know, all of this. Like I didn't even know a lot of the flower names. I didn't know what this flower was called, other than just roses, you know, and daisies, just the basics, right?
Yeah.
So I had to learn. I mean, I had to learn how all these flowers were named and what seasons they grew and all of that. So there's so many workshops available for free that you can take, you know, in order to educate yourself. So that's my advice to people. Educate yourself, you know, don't be afraid, you know, just try your very best, you know, to do what you love to do, and grow, you know, just always leave room for growth. So there was one lady that I approached one time that she had experience with weddings and flowers, but she was retired, you know, so somebody recommended me to ask her if she would guide me on, or give me I was asking for advice, you know, on something. But she didn't have time. You know, she just told me, well, she's the one that told me, you'll figure out if you have it, you have it. You will know it. And I went home that day feeling determined, and I thought, well, I'm going to show the world that I have it.
Love that.
I just, I thought I'm just going to work at it then. If nobody
Yeah.
wants to show me, if nobody wants to show me, because you will knock on doors and ask, and some people might be willing, but not everybody's willing. So I did not let that put me down. I thought there's so many things out there I can do to learn, and I'm going to take it. So I went to YouTube, I went to Pinterest, I went to all those florist designers out there that offer workshops for free. I signed up for every one of them. So I just took everything I
Wow.
could and then went from there. My arrangements were not the greatest at the beginning, but I just did it to keep practicing and getting better and better. So I can say with confidence today that, I can make something beautiful without hesitating. I'm not afraid anymore. I was at the beginning, but anyway, so.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and we have a question here, and I want to encourage everyone to ask questions because, again, I said this is a perfect time to, ask somebody that has the experience. What is it like? But our question, well, I think we can find a different way to answer this because she said, "How developed was your project when you found Rocket Lab support?" And our program, the Rocket Lab program, is new. So most of our entrepreneurs are very new. This will be our first cohort, the incubator program. But I think maybe a way that you could answer this is maybe how developed was your project before you sought out other assistance?
Yes. Well, like I said, it was when I decided that that's what I wanted to do. As I mentioned at the beginning, I had tried other things already, and I realized that that wasn't really taking me to where I wanted to be as far as becoming a business. I tried and it didn't take off. So flowers was the one thing I decided that I really wanted to stick with and grow. I didn't know much about it, but I actually made the decision. I thought I'm gonna try that. And my husband, again, he's the one, because as soon as I decided what I wanted to do, I told him, this is my plan. This is what I want to do. And he said, whoa, hang on, just wait. And he said, you cannot go and rent a place. You cannot go and start like that. You have to build your clientele. You have to build your followers, people that, do they like your work or not? So that's, you have to make up your plan in your mind and start slow and start little, very small, and just kind of test the waters, just test the waters and see what kind of interest it's out there for your product. And then once you start seeing, the interest, then you can continue to reach out to all the resources. Now, you asked me earlier about marketing. There's so many things out there. For example, like I forgot to mention the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know where you're located, but the Chamber of Commerce of your area, they're very helpful. They do give you a really good boost on your business if you become part of, like, a member of their Chamber of Commerce. So try that out too. That can be something too that could get you to where you need to be or get you connected. There's all those networks out there too, for a small business, that you can try. I didn't do that, but if that's, something you want to try, you can look for them in your area. There's several, out there that can help you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad you said that also, because even here at CALS, we have the Rocket Lab program. We also have small business
advisors.
Yeah, advisors. Yeah, the small business advisors. We have tons, obviously, of resources, audio and book resources, and print resources. So there are lots of resources that are free and low cost to really kind of help you get started. And it can be at the very beginning. I think, like what you said, Nittzia, what's most important is that you've made a decision. You've said, okay, I really want to try this. I really want to start a business, and I'm ready to do what it takes to figure out what that is. And the idea might change, like for you tried a couple different things and it was like, okay, these things aren't quite working the way I want them to. This is the one, and to be open for that process, also to be open to, staying, not giving up, staying focused, and being open to other possibilities, to the pivot. I think that's really important.
Always willing to be flexible. In a
But
business, you have to be flexible for sure, or things change every day, and you have to be very flexible and creative. You have to be willing to reinvent yourself if it comes to that, just see what's out there and what works and what doesn't work, and be willing to listen also to criticism. Constructive criticism can really help. I'm open, to know when something is not working, if a client, for example, I had a bride, that I made a bouquet for. Is the first one, and I hope it's the last one that requests this, but I made her bouquet and I brought it to her, and she liked it. She really liked it. But she said, it's a little too big for me. Can you redo it? And I thought, oh, wow. Okay, so she's my client. I want her to be happy on her most important day, right? So
yeah,
sure thing. So I pull my tools and I came prepared. I came ready, right? So I did it. What she wanted, it was something smaller. The bouquet I made was bigger than what she had in mind. So all what I had to do was to pull a few stems to make it smaller. All what she wanted was to be able to hold it with one hand for her.
okay.
That's
Yeah,
all she wanted. She wanted to be able to hold it with one hand while she was doing some kind of pose.
okay.
And I thought, well, hey, fair, that's fair, no problem. So I just went and redid that, for her. So, I didn't get mad, I just thought that's a good lesson for me. I just have to be able, to listen to my clients and what do they want and what can I do better, so for next time, I will make sure I tell the bride, are you okay with a big heavy bouquet, or you want to be able to hold it with just one?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a question I'm going to ask now every time I have a consultation with a bride. So
yeah. And like you said, it's growth. I mean, that's something that's good to know,
for
so.
sure. Mhm.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to ask if you've had any, as a woman of color, in business, have you had any challenges as a woman of color? Have you had any challenges? It doesn't sound like you've actually reached out or needed to reach out for any type of funding, but if you have you experienced any challenges in any of that?
No, actually, I'm Hispanic, I'm Mexican, and not really. I have not really had to do that. The way I've done it as far as funding my business is just like selling the product. At first, I wasn't making any profit. I was pretty much just paying myself back for my costs, what I spent. I wasn't
Yeah.
really making money. I wasn't seeing the profit for the first year probably, until later. So I really never, that was one of my goals. I did not want to start a business in debt. I didn't really want to do that.
Mhm.
So I personally cannot really be too helpful with that as far as what are the funds out there available for people that are starting their businesses, but I know they are available. So that's why you reach out to those networks, that you were talking about earlier, because they do know the places that you need to go to in order for you to start your business if you need something to get it started, for sure. Since I work from home, I didn't really need anything like that. So
Anytime.
not yet. I probably will, if I
Uh-huh.
end up doing my dream. But as
Uh-huh.
of right now, I have not needed to do that just yet.
Any type of capital. Yeah. Okay, great. That's awesome. And just as a woman, have you had any experiences that were challenging? And if not, I mean, because some of us, it depends on the industry and all
Yes.
those kind of things. But just advice for women kind of going into business.
My goodness, we're strong. Women are strong and we know what we want. Don't let anyone. The one advice I will give you based on what I've been doing for the past 3 years, that's how long I've been doing my flower business, is that I cannot compare myself to the others. You cannot do that. If you start comparing yourself, just coming up from a, just in general, woman, man, whoever it is out there doing, trying to get a business going. I think that when you start comparing yourself, you start falling short, and you just can't do that. You can't, when you're starting a business, you cannot afford to do that, because you will feel very little and defeated. You cannot compare yourself to somebody, and like social media. This florist just started a business a year ago, and she already has like, 2,000 followers, and I only have 800. You know what I mean? Like those kind of
Mhm.
things. You can't do that. You cannot go by the success somebody's having on social media.
Yeah.
Nobody knows this person that may have 2,000, 3,000, whoever, may not be booked all the way through June like I am.
Yeah.
I may not have as many followers as this person, but I know that in real life, what I really care about, I know that I am doing well. So
Yeah.
I cannot base my followers, based on, I cannot base my success on the followers of the number of followers that I have. So please do not compare yourself to others. Be you, be yourself, make yourself, I don't know, make your own trade, like your own name brand. That's something I wanted to do from the beginning, to be set apart. I wasn't going to be doing what everybody else was doing. I wanted to do
Mhm.
something different. I wanted to offer something different. So just be different, and be okay with that. And yeah, don't compare yourselves very much.
I love, love, love that advice. And one thing that we always trying to remind our entrepreneurs that we work with is, their vanity metrics, that, like you said, you can get caught up in that comparison. But
Um,
what's important is what really matters is your bottom line, because you're
yeah,
in business,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. So yeah, I mean, just keep your head, keep your head, high, and just do what you can. Somebody was asking if I'm independent. I'm looking here in the chat.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
If I'm totally dependent on my floral business financially, or do you have another form of income to help? Yes, actually I do. And it's just something that I do. So I am a case manager as well. So I work 16 hours a week. And so I'm not fully depending on my flower business income just yet. I do want that to be in the future when I have kids, I have 2 kids. So right now, that's one of the reasons too that I'm not able to do more. I could do a wedding every weekend if I wanted to, but I'm
Mhm.
not able because time, my time right now is just very stretched with being a mom, a wife, So I do work as a case manager 16 hours a week for an organization, and I love it. It's just such a beautiful job. So yes, that I definitely have another income, so that supports me, to be able to keep going. But I don't depend on that to run my flower business. My flower business, I can do that on its own if I want to. I just don't have the time yet to go full force with that. So
Yeah.
I'm
And
not sure if that answers the question.
I think it was a great answer. And I think it's another thing that I think it's really important for entrepreneurs to know is okay. It's okay to start your business while you're working your day job. A lot of times people feel some type of like a sense of like, oh, I'm not quite, I'm not really a business owner. I haven't quite done it or made it yet because, I still have my day job or I still work for someone else. And there are a multitude of reasons why that type of arrangement would make sense. Like you said, you're a mother and a wife, and
Exactly.
so it's like I have other responsibilities and desires, and work-life balance is so important.
Yeah.
And I think as
Yeah.
an entrepreneur, and maybe you could speak a little bit to this because you kind of have already. Um, it, Most entrepreneurs can also be synonymous with workaholic, and this like I have to be working all the time. And I mean, it is, it can be an all consuming thing. So can you give any advice about that work-life
Yes.
balance?
Well, you have to set your boundaries for sure, and that is why for next year, because I have teenagers. Okay, so maybe that will answer everything here. Just having teenagers and running a small business and still having a little part-time job can be overwhelming sometimes. So you have to draw the line and set your boundaries. That's why I'm pushing the pause button for a little bit on how big I want to go. I decided, that for next year, for example, next month, I have 3 weddings scheduled. Okay. And there's one that it's a small little wedding during the week that I said, okay, I can do that. But next year, I'm drawing the line where I'm saying I'm only going to book 1 wedding a month for next year, because I have teenage kids and they need me right now and I need to focus on them. So thankfully I have my husband's support, which is the main income in our home. They don't depend on me completely, to run, the expenses of the house. But I do contribute, to that. I want to be able to help, with expenses, we need to buy a car pretty soon, those kind of things. So I do want to continue to support my husband, with those things. But I have to draw the line a little bit, because it is exhausting. The flower business, the wedding industry can be very exhausting. When I have a wedding, you don't see me from Thursday until Saturday night. And yeah, it is exhausting. So I love it as much as I love it, but I have to say this is what I'm capable of doing, because I still want to be happy. I still want to love it. I don't want to get burned out. I still want to smile to my children. I want to be able to sit down with them and talk and not be mad and tired and just completely out of it because I'm too tired. So you need to know your limits. What is it, what you are capable of handling, and whatever you cannot handle and is becoming stressful and a hassle, then you don't need to, you need to find something else, that can help you grow, not put you down. So yes, setting boundaries is very important.
Yeah, you said everything that I would have said. So very great. So I know we're kind of reaching the end of our hour. I always like to ask, what are some accomplishments that you're really proud of yourself? Because I think it's always great to end on a high note.
Oh my goodness. I'll tell you, I'll be honest with all of you. I still have that imposter syndrome. I say that all the time. I still cannot believe, that people call me and want me to do their weddings, or they want me to do their flowers. It's amazing to me how many people reach out wanting me to do their work, and how sweet they are, just to tell me how much they love my work. So I want to give credit, just to the Lord for giving me those talents, and gifts to be able to work with my hands. That's just something that I don't take for granted, so I'm always thankful every single day, for the gift of blessing others, to be able to bless others through my work. And I don't want that to end. So I consider that an accomplishment. If I can make someone's day through my work and I still get paid for that, goodness, confetti, falling.
Yes,
Yay.
yes.
So good, so sure thing, when you start seeing profit from something you do well, and people enjoy it, sure thing, I'll keep doing this. So yes, I consider that one of my biggest accomplishments, to do what you love
Yeah.
and still getting paid.
Yes. Oh, yes. I love it. And so, again, I want to make sure that I give the opportunity for the audience to ask any last questions that you have. And while they're typing that in, any final words of advice, or just final thoughts that you want to give to people?
Yes, financially speaking, I know that's a main concern for a lot of people when they start their business. Thankfully, I was able to do it from home, and I can still do it from home because the kind of work I do allows me to do that. but not everybody can. There, whatever you're doing, like if you are in the food business, I know that you have to have a certified, approved kitchen and things like that. So I know it's different for everyone. I don't know what your business is, but there's so many resources out there. For example, somebody was asking me recently what I used, for my billing and all that. There's so many things out there like QuickBooks, HoneyBook. I mean, there's so many resources out there that you just pay a very small amount subscription, a month, and it really lowers your stress and facilitates in many ways the business part of it. Okay, because let's be honest, in my case, my creative side is stronger than the business part of it. So it's hard for me sometimes to manage both. So there's so many resources out there that you can reach out to in order to get you started, to where you need to be. And as you grow, you can bring your team to where you have somebody handling your books and handling, your appointments and consultations and all that stuff. So it just depends what you do. So let's see another question. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh, it's a thank you. Thanks for sharing the encouragement of work-life balance as a mom and business owner. Yeah.
Oh, yes, I know that. I can see how we can probably sit for hours and talk about that, right? That can be a huge, maybe that can be your next topic. How do you balance, business and mommy life and all that? Yeah, totally.
Yes. And then Lauren says, thank you for being transparent. My creative side is stronger than my business side. A lot of us,
high five.
Okay, it is true. Yes. And so Lauren came in a little bit later, and so she asked you to use a lot of social media for marketing. And so we can just answer her really quickly, but we did talk a lot about that, Lauren, and this will be posted on the YouTube channel.
Yes. Yeah. So for sure, any time that you need to, any of you, if you want any further questioning, like more in detail, feel free to reach out. I may not have all the answers, but I'll be glad, to visit with you guys a little more. So my email, I will type it down.
Okay.
That way you'll have my email address. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, that way you guys can have my information. And you can just email me. So that way I can maybe help you or be of any assistance or encouragement. I think that the encouragement is what we all need the most, to kind of keep us going, right, to accomplishing the goals that we want to accomplish, with our businesses. But it is very doable. I mean, there's room for everybody in this world, right? That's what I always say.
Yes. And I think one really great point with Lauren saying that about creative, our creative side being, stronger than our business side. A lot of times, we can shoot ourselves down with our doubts. And so that encouragement, like you said, is so important to say, hey, anyone can do this. And you have tons of resources and people and things available that want to help you succeed. Just keep going.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you for putting this together and having this available for people with different kind of backgrounds. I think it's amazing to have a platform like this, to encourage each other with our stories, so yeah, for sure. It is wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story so transparently and openly. I mean, this is the encouragement. Maria says, thank you so much. So excited to hear wonderful stories. Martasia says, thank you both so much for your time and input. So this has been really, really great. Just again, thank you, Ms. Nittzia. It's been wonderful talking with you. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for sharing. Yeah, and you all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. And we'll see you at the next Beyond the Ideas, which is going to be next month, October 5th. Be looking for your email for more information about that. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.